Marcus stood frozen in the doorway of his bedroom, his travel bag slipping from his fingers and hitting the floor with a dull thud. There, curled up in his bed, was Elena, the woman he'd hired 3 months ago to clean his house and occasionally watch his daughter. She was fast asleep, one arm wrapped protectively around 7-year-old Lily, who was nestled against her. What happened next would change all their lives forever, in ways none of them could have imagined. If you're wondering how this unexpected moment led to one of the most heartwarming stories you'll hear this year, stay with me. And if this story touches your heart, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more real-life stories that remind us of the unexpected ways love finds us. Marcus Parker hadn't planned on coming home early from his business trip. At 42, he'd built a successful career as an architectural consultant that required frequent travel, a necessity he'd reluctantly accepted after becoming Lily's sole parent 3 years ago when his wife, Diane, lost her battle with cancer. The constant juggling act of being both mother and father to his daughter while maintaining his career had worn him down to a shadow of his former self. "Daddy has to go away for work again," he'd told Lily last Monday, watching her small face fall in that way that always shattered his heart. "But I'll be back on Saturday, and Elena will take good care of you until then." Elena Rodriguez had been a godsend when she'd answered his desperate ad for household help. At 35, she was warm, efficient, and Lily had taken to her immediately, something that hadn't happened with the previous 3 housekeepers. Elena came 3 times a week to clean, and stayed overnight when Marcus traveled. The arrangement had been working perfectly, giving Marcus some peace of mind when work took him away from home. But now, on Thursday night instead of Saturday, Marcus stood bewildered in his own bedroom doorway. His presentation in Chicago had wrapped up early, and he'd caught the first flight home, eager to surprise Lily. Instead, he was the one surprised. His first instinct was anger. What was Elena doing in his bed? Their arrangement clearly stated she was to use the guest room when staying over. But as he watched them sleeping peacefully, something else stirred in him. Lily was curled against Elena in exactly the way she used to sleep with Diane. His daughter's face looked more relaxed than he'd seen it in years. As he stood there, Elena's eyes fluttered open. The moment she registered his presence, she gasped and sat up abruptly. "Mr. Parker. I'm so sorry, I can explain," she whispered urgently, careful not to wake Lily. Marcus raised a hand, signaling her to keep her voice down. "Let's talk in the kitchen," he said quietly, his voice betraying none of the confusion swirling inside him. Elena carefully extracted herself from the sleeping child and followed Marcus downstairs, her hands twisting nervously in front of her. In the kitchen's harsh fluorescent light, Marcus noticed how tired she looked. There were dark circles under her eyes he hadn't seen before. "I apologize, Mr. Parker," Elena began before he could speak. "Lily had a terrible nightmare about her mother. She was inconsolable and begged me not to leave her. I tried to comfort her in her room, but she only calmed down when I brought her to your bed. She said it still smells like her mom's perfume on the pillows." Elena's voice cracked. "I meant to move her back once she fell asleep, but I must have dozed off too. I never meant to overstep." The explanation hit Marcus like a physical blow. He hadn't changed the bedding since Diane died, couldn't bring himself to wash away that last trace of her. He hadn't realized Lily had noticed, or that she found comfort in it too. "How often does she have these nightmares?" he asked, suddenly realizing how little he knew about his daughter's nights when he was away. Elena hesitated. "Almost every time you're gone," she admitted. "But this one was worse. She kept saying she was forgetting what her mother looked like." Marcus sank into a kitchen chair, the weight of his absence crushing down on him. "I didn't know," he whispered. "She doesn't want to worry you," Elena said gently. "She knows how hard you work for her." "But I'm failing her," Marcus said, his voice hollow. "I'm never here when she needs me most." Elena sat across from him. "You're not failing her, Mr. Parker. You're doing the best you can in an impossible situation. Lily knows that. She talks about you constantly, how brave and strong her daddy is. Something in Elena's tone made Marcus look up. There was a depth of understanding in her eyes that caught him off guard. You speak from experience, he said. It wasn't a question. Elena nodded slowly. My husband died 6 years ago. Car accident. Our son was just 4. She rarely spoke about her past, and Marcus had never pried. I know what it's like to watch your child grieve while you're barely holding yourself together. The revelation hung between them, creating a bridge of shared experience that neither had acknowledged before. Where is your son now? Marcus asked. With my mother tonight. He's 10 now, Miguel. A small smile touched her lips. That's why I can only work for you part-time. I'm raising him alone too. Marcus felt ashamed that he'd never asked about her life before. Elena had been coming to his home for months, caring for his most precious person, and he'd never bothered to learn about hers. I'm sorry, he said. I should have asked sooner. Elena shrugged. We all have our burdens, Mr. Parker. You've been carrying yours alone for a long time. The conversation might have ended there, a brief moment of connection before returning to their employer-employee relationship. But as dawn broke over the horizon, casting the kitchen in soft golden light, Marcus found himself telling Elena things he hadn't told anyone since Diane died. About his guilt for being at a conference when his wife took her last breath. About how sometimes he couldn't look at Lily without seeing Diane's eyes staring back at him. About how desperately lonely fatherhood had become. And Elena listened. She made coffee as the morning grew brighter, and shared her own struggles, the crushing debt her husband's medical bills had left, the second job she worked on weekends, her fears that Miguel was growing distant as he approached adolescence. They were still talking when the patter of small feet announced Lily's awakening. She appeared in the kitchen doorway, her blonde hair a tangled mess, her eyes widening with delight when she saw her father. Daddy, she squealed, launching herself into his arms. You came home early. Marcus held her tight, breathing in the sweet scent of her strawberry shampoo. I missed you too much, pumpkin, he said, his voice thick with emotion. Over Lily's head, his eyes met Elena's, and something unspoken passed between them, an acknowledgement that something had shifted in their understanding of each other. That morning marked the beginning of a change in the Parker household. Marcus called his boss that same day and negotiated a reduction in his travel schedule, accepting a slight pay cut in exchange for more remote work. He started asking Lily about her feelings instead of just her schoolwork, creating space for her to talk about her mother without his own grief shutting down the conversation. And Elena became more than just the housekeeper. Learning about her financial struggles, Marcus offered her full-time work managing his household, with hours that allowed her to be there for Miguel after school. He converted his home office into a bedroom so Miguel could stay over when Elena did, giving both single parents some much-needed support. 2 months after that fateful night, Marcus was helping Miguel with a science project while Elena and Lily baked cookies in the kitchen. The sound of laughter, his daughter's high-pitched giggles mingling with Elena's warm chuckle, drifted through the house, a sound he hadn't realized had been missing. Your mom is really nice, Miguel said suddenly, looking up from the solar system model they were constructing. Elena's not my mom, Lily corrected, appearing in the doorway with a cookie in each hand. My mom is in heaven. But Elena is like a bonus mom. Right, Daddy? The innocent label caught Marcus off guard. He glanced at Elena, who had followed Lily into the room, her cheeks flushing slightly. I think Elena is very special to all of us, Marcus said carefully. That night, after the children were asleep, Marcus found Elena on the back porch, gazing at the stars. The spring air was cool but not cold, carrying the scent of the lilacs Diane had planted years ago. I'm sorry about what Lily said, Marcus began. About the bonus mom thing. I don't want you to feel uncomfortable. Elena turned to him, her expression thoughtful. It didn't make me uncomfortable, she said. It made me realize something I've been trying not to admit. What's that? Marcus asked, his heart suddenly beating faster. That somewhere along the way, you and Lily stopped being just a job to me. Her voice was barely above a whisper. And that scares me, because I've worked so hard to build a stable life for Miguel. I can't risk that. Marcus moved closer, drawn by the vulnerability in her words. What if it's not a risk, but a possibility? What if we're not replacing what we lost, but building something new, together? The question hung between them, full of potential and fear and hope. Elena's eyes searched his, looking for certainty in an uncertain world. I don't know if I'm ready, she admitted. Neither am I, Marcus said honestly. But maybe we cannot be ready together, one day at a time. When he reached for her hand, she didn't pull away. And when their fingers intertwined, it felt like the first step on a new path, one neither had expected to find. Over the following year, their two broken families gradually became one healing whole. There were challenges, of course. Miguel struggled with accepting Marcus's role in his life. Lily had moments of confusion and guilt, feeling she was somehow betraying her mother's memory. Marcus and Elena moved slowly, careful with each other's hearts and their children's emotions. But there were beautiful moments too. The first time they all went camping together, and Lily taught Miguel how to roast the perfect marshmallow. The evening Elena found Marcus sitting with her son, patiently helping him work through his anger after a difficult day at school. The Christmas morning when they woke up as a family, no longer defined by what they had lost, but by what they had found in each other. 18 months after that night when Marcus found Elena in his bed, he asked her to be there every night, as his wife. They married in a simple ceremony in the backyard, with Lily as the flower girl and Miguel proudly carrying the rings. During the reception, Marcus found a moment alone with his daughter, who was watching Elena dance with Miguel, both of them laughing. "Are you happy, pumpkin?" he asked, kneeling to her level. Lily considered the question with the seriousness only a 9-year-old could muster. "I still miss Mommy," she said finally. "But my heart doesn't hurt so much anymore. Elena says it's okay to be happy again, that Mommy would want that." "Elena's very wise," Marcus said, his throat tight with emotion. "Daddy?" Lily's small hand touched his cheek. "I think Mommy sent Elena to us. So we wouldn't be alone." Perhaps she was right. Perhaps there were no accidents in this world, only paths we don't yet understand. The night Marcus came home early and found Elena comforting his daughter wasn't the end of his journey as a grieving widower, but the beginning of his journey toward healing. Life rarely gives us what we expect. Sometimes it takes away what we love most, leaving us broken and lost. But sometimes, when we least expect it, it sends us exactly what we need, not to replace what we've lost, but to help us carry on, to remind us that love has many forms, and that family is not just who we're born to, but who we choose to build our lives with. As Marcus watched his new wife and their children dancing under strings of garden lights, he felt Diane's presence, not as a ghost haunting his happiness, but as a blessing upon it. And he knew, with a certainty that filled his heart to bursting, that this was exactly where they all belonged. Sometimes the most beautiful journeys begin with the most unexpected detours. For Marcus, Elena, Lily, and Miguel, that detour led them home, to each other. If this story touched your heart, please consider liking this video and subscribing to our channel. Everyone deserves a second chance at happiness, and sometimes sharing these stories helps others find the courage to open their hearts again. Thank you for watching, and remember, family isn't always what you're born into, sometimes it's what you find when you need it most.